Thank you
Co-
for the kind words.
oh, no, no, no. All right. Once again, the Rockwell timepiece says it is time. So come on in, stay a while. It's time to get coached up with another edition of the Coach Scott Field Show. And I'm proud to announce that Rockwell is a proud Spartan partner of the Coach Scott Field Show, as I am a brand ambassador. So please go to Rockwell time.com. Use the code coach20 for 20% off of any of the merchandise there at that website, or use the code hero coach, buy any item, which is sunglasses or watches at regular price, and get a discount or a free hero watch, which supports any of our military services, or it can support also the fire departments or police departments. It is outstanding. If you haven't done so already, please smash that subscribe button on our YouTube channel, and also like and follow the Coach Scott Field Show on our Facebook page. Watch us every day during the week, dbtv.tv, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Or you can watch us on CSTV on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. All the Sports Rewind 60 out of Chicago. And also, we've just started using our platform to see us on the Let's Talk Sports Network out of the UK. But without further ado, I am super excited to have this gifted and talented young lady on our show today. Many of you may recognize her. If not, she is a star on the rise. This is Miss Kelsey Nicole Nelson. She is an award-winning media personality. She has an award-winning podcast, which is Listen In with KNN, and we're going to get into all that. But she's a host, she's a reporter, she is a MC mistress, she is a red carpet interview. Oh my goodness. I mean, to have you on our show, oh my goodness, the viewers are going to be pleased. So, Miss Kelsey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so delighted to be here. You did a fabulous introduction. I'm so humble. So I'm like,
Hey,
wow, that's a lot of stuff. But no, thank you. I love just talking and communicating with folks like you, other talented folks such as yourself. I know we're going to have a good time today. So I'm looking forward
well,
to it.
it's going to be fun. I get to learn and grow and evolve from professionals like yourself. I mean, to be a top 30 under 30. Wow. What did that mean to you when you had such a prestigious accolade at such a young age with your star on the
Yeah.
rise?
First off, thank you so much for recognizing that. I still do this, Coach Scott. I still pinch myself because, sometimes, I just look back and I'm just like, wow. And, I always say my hashtag is now I'm just a girl from Germantown, so I'm just a young girl that had dreams of playing sports, working in sports. And so the fact, that, I actually get honored because I'm living out my dream. Like, it means a lot to me, especially because, I am somebody that, I love the grind. It's what keeps me in this industry. It's why I'm high energy for everything that I do. Like, I'm truly passionate, about this work. Like, I felt like this is what God put me on this planet for. I truly feel like, I'm walking in my purpose. And so, to be able to be awarded at what some consider young, I'm starting to feel a little bit old, Coach Scott, but what some would consider a younger age, it does mean a lot because, it shows that your hard work isn't going unnoticed. And honestly, the biggest thing for me is I just hope I'm inspiring others. Growing up, for me, it was representation mattered, diversity mattered. And so to hopefully be an inspiration to young girls, of color, to show like you can do anything you want to. Don't listen to what the naysayers say. I had so many people, Coach Scott, tell me along the way, you're never going to make it in media. You're not the look, you're not the size, you don't have the voice. Well, I'm making it being me, and I still have so much more to grow and go on. And I absolutely love that. So I'm just so thankful. And I still can't believe I have 2 30 under 30 awards. Like, me, what? Kelsey Nicole Nelson from Germantown, Maryland, from like that place on the map. So it's an honor. But again, just to get awarded for doing something I love, and then to have my family and friends support, and the support of people I don't even know on social media that congratulate me, like, it just means so much to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I have no words sometimes. I just feel blessed again to, just be able to have people, say, you're doing good work, Kelsey. We see you, and that's all I ever wanted to do was be seen, and be heard, and hopefully people will latch on to it. So that's what people have been doing.
Well, there's no doubt you and I connect because we're high energy. The
Oh,
personality
yes.
that you have radiates, you glow, and for you to
Thank
have the talent
you.
that you have, to me is phenomenal. And I love that you're so passionate. And you mentioned the word purpose to that. You also
Yeah.
talked about, you played sports, when you were younger. What were the sports
Yeah.
that where you learned the most life lessons?
Ooh, I love this question. I think every sport, teaches you something. I feel like for me, I played basketball, volleyball, tennis, soccer, like, so much. I think, for me, for one, soccer was a sport that challenged me. For some reason, my coach always wanted to put me in the goalie box, and I hated the goalie box. All right. I didn't want to be goalie. Like, this ball was coming super fast in my head, and you want me to dive my body and throw it down. Like, put me in the midfield. But what it taught me is, life is going to throw adversity right your way. You're going to go through those trials and tribulations. And guess what? You're going to have to make it work because there's people counting on you, right? I couldn't just tell my team, like, I'm just going to stand here and just let the balls come my way. No, I'm competitive. So that wasn't going to happen, and I still have a lot of bruises, to prove it. But, it is what it is. It's okay. The body heals itself. And I think about a sport like, and I think about sport like basketball, where I had, great teammates and coaches. I think, basketball taught me a lot about leadership, right? And things weren't working on the court, being vocal and, saying like, hey, we got to do things this, hey, get your man, trap, like you learn just different types of things. I think basketball actually taught me more so how to be vocal and how to be a leader and really see, the power, that I had. A sport like volleyball, again, just another team sport. I learned how to play my position, right? Do my role and what was, accounted for me, and my teammates, right, were doing their role. And we all do our roles together, things work. We had a pretty good, volleyball team. But even, sport like I remember playing Foursquare. I don't know if people remember Foursquare, growing
Yes,
up,
yes,
like,
but the ball.
you know, yes, Foursquare was one of my favorite games. You had to be strategic. I used to play at a boys and girls club, and I'm always looking for those positions of what opportunity, right? So that's what I think that was. I think, I pull something from every single sport, that I played. Dodgeball showed me how to dodge some of life's bullets, that come your way. And sometimes you get hit, but you bounce back. And maybe it's good they banned that red ball now. It used to hurt, all right? Some of us remember that hard red ball from dodgeball. So that's why you didn't get hit, right? You had to learn how to dodge it. So, I think honestly, every sport that I played, I learned so much. But honestly, even more so, I'd say, being able to look at sports and being able to see my dad in the stands all the time, he never missed a game, and also taught me the value of support and having people in your corner, right, and in your pocket. And I'm so thankful, to have had that. There's nothing better than doing a good play and being able to look at your parents and, they're giving you that finger, that wave, they're proud of you. Or when you mess up, you're like, oh man, I'm kind of embarrassed. It's going to be a long car ride home.
Oh, I love that.
But again, it teaches you a lot.
And what I like about, talking about support systems and working as a team and,
Oh yeah.
the leadership, the communication, you exude all of that. And I think
Thank you.
it's your personality that shines. And
Yeah.
when I've seen some of your work and some of the people that you've interviewed, the way that you
Yeah.
connect and you allow the viewers and the listeners to connect and, get to see another side of your subjects. I think you do a great job of making them feel comfortable. You do a great job
Thank
of,
you.
bringing out, what is compelling and what is there to connect with. So kudos to you on that for doing
Oh,
your
thank
research and your
you.
due diligence and all the preparation that goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people have no
Oh
idea that
yeah.
goes on.
They don't see it, Coach Scott, all that we do. I always say all the time, social media shows, the glamour and the fun side. They don't see the bags under our eyes, staying up late at night, doing all this research, for the games and going back and listening to interviews and, quotes and listening to press conferences. There's a lot. I mean, so we don't usually show that downside, all right? Like you guys
Yeah.
just see the 30% of the fun and even game time though, the people in your ear and things changing like this in an instant, and you just have to make the show keep rolling. Like it's a stressful job, but I'm able to keep a smile on my face nonetheless. But there is a lot that goes into it. But again, when you love this job, you love this work, you're gonna work hard, right? And then every interview for me, it's something special. I want to tell this person's story. They're entrusting me to tell their story. They're entrusting me and my listeners and viewers, right, to pull something out of them. So I have to make that the best. And again, making people feel comfortable, it's important to me now. It's also something I feel like I grew up with because my family's Southern. So, Southern folks, we love talking with people. We want you to feel comfortable. Like when you talk to me, I consider you family, right? Because we're able to exchange things, so especially to get that trust from somebody. Because we talk about vulnerable topics, and vulnerability is hard. I'd say that's probably one of my weaknesses. Even like it's hard to be vulnerable. It really is. But when I'm talking to someone, I can't expect them to be vulnerable if I'm not willing to be vulnerable. So all my interviews, take me to a different place, and I learn so much. And that's what's so fun because you just never know what you're going to get out of any interview that you're doing with someone.
I like that. And in doing my research with you and looking at all the fascinating things that you do, you're also a mentor, you also teach. What are some of the
Yeah.
lessons that you try to drive home to the students that you teach and mentor to help them kind of navigate a
Yeah.
successful pathway into this career? What are some of the few
Yeah.
nuggets that, are the foundations to be successful in this business?
Oh my gosh, you're taking me back to my last conversation I had with one of my mentees. The first thing and biggest thing I preach is, nothing beats out hard work. You always have to be willing to go the extra mile. I tell young people all the time, it's one thing to do an internship, but if you're leaving an internship and nobody knows you or nobody's willing to write a recommendation on your behalf because they feel like they don't know you enough for your skill set, what were you doing there? Same, it's like, if you go there, make an impression, work hard. If you can be the first one there, last one to leave, make sure you're networking. Hard work will always get you somewhere because everybody's always going to want to be a hard worker. Another thing, you got to show up. That's just half the battle. You got to show up to what you say you're going to do. There's nothing worse than people believing in you and then you don't show up there, right? People start to lose faith. I think the biggest thing too, I tell my mentees, is you got to learn how to bet on yourself because society is not always going to support your dreams. When you're a child, everyone makes you think, you have these big dreams and that everyone else is going to support them. But quickly in life, you learn that that's not always the case. And sometimes it's the people closest to you, and when I first took a chance on myself, I give myself as an example all the time. People said, what are you doing? Like media, they don't make money. And it's super hard. Like, Kelsey, you're smart. You could go be a lawyer, be a doctor, something more safe, and sound and you'll be fine and good. But, I wanted the challenge because I knew this is what I love. I knew it was a risk because it's a hard industry. A lot of people went to journalism school even, with no longer do journalism, for various reasons. But it's a lot. It's not for everybody. Make a lot of sacrifices in this business. Something else I talk with my mentees about, are you willing to make the sacrifices? Maybe you can't go out all the time, on Friday nights to hang out at the mall or whatever young kids do now. I'm like, do they even go out anymore? I don't know, whatever they do now, TikTok parties or whatever they're doing. Like you might have to, not be there for that, right? You might need to work on your VO piece. You might need to go out, cover a high school football game, get some tape for your reel. So what are you willing to sacrifice? And this is what I talk with the young people about, my students about, because, I think they have an upper leg, if anything, because of technology. So they're learning so much more stuff, Coach Scott, that me and you didn't get to learn, till later in life, so use this advantage that's been given to you and run with it. And I think right now, especially too, like young people have so much control because of technology and they're the best ones at using technology. And they're even teaching us, as much as we think we're teaching them. So honestly, I give them my mentees, all these lessons, but I'm learning so much from them as well. They finally persuaded me to make a TikTok video, which will hopefully drop this week, but I understand that because you kind of have to be in the know and the now. That's media, snap, snap, snap. You can't be left behind, that's something they push me to even do, as I'm preaching to them. So, this is why I love, this is why mentorship is so important to me, something that's been preached to me early on. And I quote this all the time, we stand on the shoulders of giants to whom much is given, much is required. So I'd say that's the last thing I preach to my mentees all the time too, reach back, give back, each one, teach one. So, as much as I'm pouring into you, please also make sure you're pouring into your communities because our young people, they need this guidance, this mentorship, this leadership. They need to know they have a caring adult and someone that believes in them, right? So take time always to do something for your community, do something for your family, and just make it a better world. It's going to take each one of us to hopefully get to that point and that level.
I love that, Kelsey. Thank you for sharing that because I feel like
Of course.
we need more KNNs out in society giving back to the community. Steel definitely start sharpen steel, and to know that you're out there fighting that fight every day, it's just
Yeah.
refreshing and rewarding. So kudos to you
Oh,
and keep up
thank
the great work
you.
because the there is no ceiling for you, and I see that for you, and I
Thank
see that
you.
brightness of you shining. So continue, that
Yeah.
passionate and purposeful work that you do. You know,
I so
there are
appreciate that.
challenges. There are challenges in the
Oh, yeah.
industry, and like you said, the technology now today the platforms that individuals have. I think it's great that, people can get out there and experiment and
Yeah.
see what they like, what they don't like. But for
Right.
you, growing up in the industry with your
Yeah.
sports background, but who were some of your role models in broadcast that you looked
Yeah.
up to, or that you were trying to learn from or steal from, or who was your
Yeah.
guiding light?
Oh my gosh, so many. I truly am the product of a village, and I preach that all the time. And one really quick thing to what you said before, Coach Scott, no more K&Ns because I still got to get a trademark on that. All right. But there could be others, you know. Let me get the trademark first. All right. No, I'm
There you
kidding. But,
go.
there's going to be better K&Ns, and that's what excites me. I think the role model aspect, for me, there's so many, but, one I always say, is Oprah Winfrey. And it's for a couple of reasons. One, because she's from Mississippi. My family is from Mississippi. So to see someone that was from Mississippi, that had roots here and started her career in Baltimore, a place that I often work and broadcast from, I just saw myself in her and seeing what she had to go through to get where she was, so a woman that was called too dark, they said that she didn't have the look. And she went on to become the most successful talk show host, in the history of television. That just tells you, folks, it's never, 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 where you start, but it's where you end. And the great thing about Oprah, her ending is not even over. She's had a magazine, she has a network. Like, Oprah's somebody we continue to follow in the footsteps of. And I think she's been one of the role models because, I've never been a person. I like to be placed in a box. That is why I have different roles. I'm so much more, than just a reporter. I'm so much more than just a teacher. I have so many different hats, that I wear. And that's when people ask me what I do. And I've had to learn how to say this. I was like, oh yeah, I am an entrepreneur, I guess. I don't need to tell these titles. I'm just kind of making my own way. And that's what I've always loved. I never just played one sport. I did multiple sports. I've never just done one thing. And I think that's what's so exciting about Oprah. She was always evolving, but also the other part we just talked about, the give back. I'll never forget the you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. I always wanted the power to be able to do something like that, right? In my community. I think, she's definitely been one. Somebody like Robin Roberts, also another
Oh,
African-American woman who helped, change the game of sports, now doing news. And again, another woman that shows you can evolve. Again, it doesn't matter where you start, you're going to keep growing. And I think that's the fun thing about life, learning how to evolve. I think someone like her, one of my great mentors now, there's a great JB, James Brown. I mean, is there anything to say about him? One of the best in the business. Just does it so smooth, has the right words all the time, always looking sharp. He's somebody I think we all learn from, right? Because again, you look forward to his knowledge, his wit, and just how he's able to relate and get along with everybody. Like he makes that NFL Sunday show just flow so smoothly. It's so exciting. So I think, and those are some of the people. And then of course, my closest mentors are my parents. That's where I learned hard work from. My parents were always working. I always give the analogy. I was raised by a village because I was always the first one dropped off at daycare. I remember sometimes even getting there before my counselors and like, y'all are late. You're supposed to be here at 6:30 when the door is supposed to open. My parents had to go to work. And then being the last one to leave and someone that happens, you're around adults more. So when that happens too, that means you're learning from older people and you learn so much wisdom. They're the ones that believed in me early, gave me leadership opportunities early. I remember when I was at the Boys and Girls Club, I was running our team store as like manager and making sure we had the right money at the end of the day, making sure the food, was on the right temperature and that we're throwing out old food. And, being in those leadership positions, it's like, you learn so much. And I think so many adults saw leadership in me before I saw it in myself. But, when you're entrusted with that, you carry it so importantly, right? I've never want to disappoint people. That's one of my things. Like when somebody trusts in me, like I'm going to work my hardest. I'm never going to disappoint you. I remember being like the lead counselor in training and, making sure the kids go home to their parents and parents sign them out and make sure it's, the right person getting them. So there's so many of those different things. I've had mentors in sports and in life. And I've had role models though too. I'd say that we touched on people I haven't met before and probably don't know that they've inspired me or people like me, by what they're doing. Because seeing truly is believing. And that's why I'm such a big advocate, of diversifying media, diversifying sports, because America's an ever-changing landscape. And I think everybody should have the opportunity to see someone, living out their dream that looks like them, excelling, in this field. So I'm just thankful, Scott, for so many role models, many of whom, if I can quickly say one more, I remember when I was a kid and I believe it was middle school, I won the Karan Butler three Ds to Succeed award. Karan Butler is one of
wow.
my role models, on the Wizards, and it was for having dedication, determination, and discipline in everything in life and sports. And Karan, again, another guy that was getting it done on the basketball court. but also in the community. Another reason why he was my role model. And this was one of the glory days of the Wizards, Scott. We're trying to get back there right now. But, even though, the uniforms bring up some of those old, nihilistic feelings, that we had of the Wizards. So glad we have those throwback uniforms. But, someone like him, even being a role model, noticing someone like me and my community, never forget, they came to my school with the cameras and surprised me in front of the whole school. Like, what? Brad, Karan Butler from the Washington Wizards is here for me at Clarksburg High School. Came all the way out, to Clarksburg with the Wizards organization. And, it means so much. Again, it's somebody else that was my role model, because I remember watching him in the high nosebleed seats. But yet here you are recognizing me, and I get a chance to go get honored, on the Wizards court and floor, like me right here. Like, what? So, there's, honestly, I can go on and on. But so many people have touched me. I don't think everybody will even know who's all touched me, because there's been so many. But all I want to say is just thank you to them, Scott, because there's so many, and they help make me me. And honestly, continue to make me as I continue to grow and evolve as a person, as a broadcaster, as a sister, as a daughter, and so much more.
See, I love that. This is inspiring. It's empowering. You're showing, just through your words, and people who are viewing, they're going to be, how can they not be inspired to move forward and evolve and grow? I just love the passion and the energy. So I heard through your stories the attention to detail. Even when you were just working with kids, and making sure the right person was contacted, the right person was picking them up, and those attention to details are what separate the good from the great. And no doubt you are on your way to greatness. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're with Kelsey Nicole Nelson. This is the Coach Scott Field Show. Got to give a quick shout out to another partner of the show, Sleep Number. Sleep Number is the official partner of the NFL. They are also the sleep partner of the Coach Scott Field Show. Give my guy Todd a call, 801-845-9058. Anywhere in the United States, if you have not had a temperature-controlled, weightless sleep, give Todd a call. Let him hook you up. He will take care of you and help you save thousands on your Sleep Number. Kelsey, this is so exciting. I had to get those shout outs in there real quick, but there's so many
I love
levels.
It. Sleep is important.
Hey, I tell you what, if you can't have a sleepful night's rest, I'm telling you got to have the energy, because look at you. You're bringing it right now. So obviously you slept well, but if you was on a Sleep Number, a little bit better.
A little bit better. No bags, ladies.
But I don't know if you can get any better. You're amazing the way you are.
Thank you.
Let's talk about. Let's be real.
Okay.
With you being a female, with you being African American, of course there are going to be challenges. There's going to be cynicism. What's some of the challenges or landmines or obstacles that you've had to overcome to continue to put yourself out there and show that, hey, I am Kelsey Nicole Nelson, and I'm here, and I'm going to be, I'm going to be someone to deal with? What were some of those things that were challenging for you, for the listeners out there and viewers who want to be the next Kelsey Nicole?
Yeah, this is a question I also just, I love sharing this, because again, I don't think we talk about or share enough of our trials and tribulations to get to where we are, or even talk about how they're still impacting us as we try to get to where we want to go. So all that to say, I think, being a Black woman, when I step into a room, Coach Scott, people see that. There's no masking that. There's no hiding that. That's how I first walked into a room.
The elephant in the room, right? It's the elephant in the room.
Exactly. That's how I first identify. And that's what people see. So, and there's stereotypes that come with that. There's, a lot of stuff that people will have those perceptions in mind. I think for me, just knowing I have to be who I am is something I had to learn. Because at first, I thought I couldn't be myself. There was that stereotype that, Black women are always loud and angry, and I'm thinking, I have to change myself to be accepted. And a lot of times, it's always, you don't have the voice, because I didn't sound like the white guys that were broadcasting, the games in the rooms. And a lot of times too, when you're a Black woman, you're overlooked because, usually sometimes they'll say, you're not what our audience demographic wants. And usually they're trying to say, sports fans, and this is especially when I first started out, they're thinking, sports fans are white men. So they were like, why would anybody basically want to listen to someone like me? I'm the complete opposite, right? Being Black and being a woman. And so I think you have to unfortunately overcome those obstacles, and early on in life, I learned like many Black girls and many Black women that I did have to work 10 times as hard, be 10 times as better to get that one opportunity that probably someone else is going to get much earlier, in life. And so I think that hard work factor, got into me early on. Nothing has ever been given to me. Everything has had to be worked for. And, when you are a Black woman, you deal with those issues, sexism and racism, I think all the time I give the examples, unfortunately, I think Black women, our bodies are probably the most sexualized, right? And so I think, when I first started out, especially, I just tried to do so much to try to just hide my body. Again, I come from a Black Southern family. So a lot of women in my family, Coach, I'll just be honest, we're larger, thicker women, right? Like we eat. I don't know how else to say it. We
Sweet
love we
potato
love
pie is
good
hard to pass
food.
up. Let's be
Yes.
honest.
Yes, we love good food. I come from my family's from Louisiana, Mississippi, deep South, folks. It's different down there. Like that's the only sweet tea that's real sweet tea in the country, So, but like knowing, that sometimes you'd wear stuff, some people would take offense to it, and it's just because again you had a body. Like that's something you have to learn. And again, it's sad because you're being you. You're come to work, and it shouldn't be about what your physical is. It should be about what I'm talking about.
Right.
And then also, I think just knowing again that you have to work 10 times as hard. I didn't get opportunities. Everything I did at first was free, and it was for like the local cable access television show. But none of the local companies wanted to really hire me for anything more. They said I had to go get more experience. I'm thinking I went to the top 2 universities here in the DMV area, and I've covered the teams here and I've had the top internship. What do you mean I need more, experience? And so really realizing that early on, I didn't have anybody reaching out to me to work. And that's kind of when my podcast actually started, because no one was giving me a seat at the table. And so I decided to, make my own table, and I bring my own chairs, and pop that up. And, lo and behold, my podcast that I started, that's when I started to get a lot more eyes on me. And I realized people wanted to listen to me for me. And I got to make my own voice in my hometown and make my own space in my hometown. And then they started to reach out to me, right? When they started to see I had a following, people, wanted to listen to my rationale and break down my analysis. And that's kind of when I started brand building. So all that to say, I think as a Black woman, we're not afforded opportunities usually, right away. Now, I think things might be a little bit different now because some companies are finally starting to realize the importance of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we're just beginning to have those conversations. But the other side of that is that, you don't just want to be a token or a quick fix, because a quick fix can also quickly get rid of, right? And you want to be there for a long time, and, wanting to make sure that people do hire you for your merit. Once again, when you're walking into these places and sometimes being the only one, learning to have to be comfortable in that, knowing what it is to be the only one in a room, and feel like you have, you're representing every single person, even though we're all so different and all so unique. But knowing that you're going to be judged by everything because of that, but also knowing that when you're in that space, you have to make the most of it, because when you leave that room, the next time you go in it, you don't want to be, the only one. So that pressure of trying to make sure that there's going to be opportunities for others, that look like you is also, just very important. So I think, it's the biggest thing, being a Black woman, you are going to have more challenges working in sports, as we both know. It's not diverse enough, even though it is changing, but, we like to see it change at a much faster pace. For women, you'll have men that still will think that you can't know sports because simply because you're a woman, you've never played football, even though I did play in the NFL passing league, but they probably won't count that as a kid. But, there'll be those guys, all the time, and especially the people that don't want to show their profile picture, that want to say, the nastiest stuff, the egg people, but, it comes with the job. I think if anything, as a Black woman, especially, I think, you learn how to get really in, in this industry. I had to learn early that you're going to have a lot more no's, and to not let that deter you, but to keep on trying and applying, because there is going to be someone out there that wants you for you, but it might take a long time to get there. Even till this day, I keep a huge inbox of my no's, and people probably be surprised at the number that's in that inbox, of no's. But it's because, again, I take things personally because I'm a competitive person. And so, but that for me is, it just reminds me of the hustle and the grind. When I don't get something, I want to work harder to get something else. But there's going to be, again, just a lot of challenges, but at the same time, those challenges, I think, are what propel so many of us to keep on trying and fighting. And I'm thankful for organizations, like the National Association of Black Journalists that I'm, supremely active in, those type of groups that help make sure that, you have support, that they are fighting for diversity and newsrooms, the Association of Women in Sports Media, and just so many others. And those groups are needed. again,
Yes.
Barrett, because there's just going to be different battles, that you face, unfortunately, as a woman in sports, especially if you're a woman of color in sports.
Well, I see nothing but greatness. And I'm not just saying that because
Thank
you're on my
you.
show. I'm saying it because I see the passion, I see the
Thank
purpose
you.
in what you do. But what I also see from you is your personality and that perseverance to
Thank
prove
you.
people that, you know what, you're here and you're for real. And to me, I see you being the next Maria Taylor, without a doubt. I mean, you
Oh,
have
thank
you
you.
you
I
have the
appreciate
skill
that.
set.
She's the goat.
Well, you
Thank
have
you.
the skill set, you definitely have the personality, you have the energy, but yet you also exude the knowledge to be able to ask the appropriate questions to get from them so
Yeah.
that the viewers can connect. And I think as long as we can
Yeah.
make connections and those relationships that you build, to me, again, you're doing all the right things. And yeah, there may be
Yeah.
100 no's in your inbox, but when you get that first yes on that major network, man,
And real,
boom,
yes.
it's going to take off. I believe in you. I really do.
I so appreciate that. I said I wouldn't keep doing this, if I didn't think I was good at it, and that it wasn't meant for me. The reason that I keep doing it is because I just feel like this is me. It's in my blood. It's what grows me. It's why I've been able to connect with people like you, Coach Scott, in Utah. And people like you get to know the K&N brand everywhere. It's been amazing. It's taking me international, and this is what's just so inspiring. Like sometimes when you have those down days you have to realize, what you've done and again, the people that you've reached. And it's an incredible feeling, and I'm just
Yes.
thankful again that I've been able to tell the power. I've always loved sports, not just for sports on the field, because of what sports have been able to do for society. I think sports are a great reflection of what happens in society. I'm someone that I went to school for broadcast journalism, but I also graduated from public policy, African American studies, sports industry management, so I have a plethora of experience. I was pre-law, so I put all these things into what I do because I think it is so important to make sure that these stories are told. Also, worked a lot in education, in the school system. What do all athletes have? Foundations. So I'm able to tell all these different sides of sports stories. I think it's so important because, no other place, Coach Scott, than sports are we all really able to come together from different backgrounds,
Amen.
class,
Amen.
income level, religion. Like that's what makes sports so fun to come cheer on the game, but it also forces us to have real conversations, I think. And, sometimes those are uncomfortable for some people, but they're conversations that need to be had. And sports brings that to the forefront. It also helps societal wise, push certain matters, to the forefront as well. And that's why sport is so important, so impactful. Sports has went into government. If we want to look at college athletes now, look at what the NIL did,
Yes.
for college
Yes.
athletes. Just one example of touching, politics and government, but it's going back down to sports. And now, really adding agency to our student athletes, being able to make money off their own name, image, and likeness. This is why I love just kind of connecting all those different pieces. And, really I love sports too, because you get a lot of people, that are able to live their dream, all because they were talented at something. And that's incredible. And that's amazing. And athletes, we love athletes because many of them do what we can't do. Like someone throws me a lob, I don't know if I'm going to get it in the basket because one, I don't know if I'm going to be able to jump that high anymore, Coach God, and then two, I don't know if it's going to go in the basket. But I like watching people that do it, and I like talking about them. And that's what makes it very, very fun. That's why we love this time now, right? When so many sports are going on, like how privileged, and that's a sports is a privilege. How privileged, are we that we're able to, talk about these stories, tell these stories, connect with athletes, and really be all one together, when you're in that, stadium or, wherever you are in that arena, like it's such a special moment and such a
Yes.
special feeling to be able to have that.
I love that. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're talking to Kelsey Nicole Nelson. Definitely
Yeah.
a lot of versatility in the portfolio. She is the Swiss Army knife of broadcast. I love that. And here's another analogy I'm going to give my viewers. I was blessed that I was with the Golden State Warriors when Steph Curry was a rookie, and there was a lot of negativity and a lot of cynicism, but
Ah,
yet he bet on himself. He stuck to it, what
mm,
he did well. He worked on some of
yeah,
the things that, a lot of the experts said were his weaknesses. He's transformed the
yeah.
game, and I see you as the same as a Steph Curry his rookie year, who's out
Wow.
there
I so
transforming the
appreciate
game.
that.
So I want you to continue to just do what you do. And continue to grow on that versatility that you have, because to me you're the package that major networks are looking for. So again,
Thank
I'm
you.
saying that I believe in you, and I know that great things are going to continue to happen. You
Thank
have a
you.
successful podcast. Let's let the viewers of the Coach Scott Field Show, because we
Yeah.
have the platforms through our networks to be seen
Yeah.
in up to 300 million households. So please let people
Amazing.
know where people can see your podcast, where to view your
Yes.
podcast, where they can get in contact with you. Because I want people to know that, I mean, you are a speaker, you are an MC, you do so many things to where you can enhance whatever product is out there to help them
Yeah.
grow their brand. So share that stuff. I know you're humble, but brag it up a little bit for a second. It's okay.
All right, just for a little bit, I'll
Yeah,
brag.
just for a bit.
No, but thank you again, for this platform. And, again, my podcast, it's my baby. It really is. It's something I started, again, to really make a voice for myself in this industry and to be able to see where it's grown and now to give, others an opportunity. I'm going through intern applications now to be able to grow my team. It's a special feeling, again, to have that give back moment and making sure that these young people get hands-on experience working in media. But I hope everyone checks out my podcast show. It's through Fox Sports, 1340 AM, 96.9 FM. And it's a podcast show where, much like me and Coach Scott are having, I'm just having a conversation with folks that work in sports, politics, anyone that kind of touches the sports realm or entertainment world. I want to have a conversation with you. How did you get there? What's going on with the latest topics? Even it's gone longer than an hour. Michael Smith right now, many of you probably watched on Thursday Night Football on Amazon or on Peacock TV, Brother for Another. We almost spoke for 3 hours, but why? Because we were having a great conversation, connecting with one another. So that's what the podcast show is. I tell people, fans, you guys are listening in, but you also have a chance to communicate with us. Bring your live questions to the show. If you ever had it, bring a lot of former athletes on, and people always love asking them those questions they never had a chance to ask. And I love that. We talk about their foundations. What's life like after the game? I always love those questions too, as well, because the game ends. And I know many of us don't want it to, but your body will tell you, and it's eventually going to end. Even Tom Brady, is eventually going to
That's
end
right.
for someone like him. So
Yeah.
all that we talk about on the podcast show. So I'm telling you, please, 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 you can download it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. iTunes, Google Play Store, wherever you need to go. Go there. Spotify. We are everywhere. Audio Stack. Download the podcast. Please hit subscribe, and you can watch our live episodes of the show on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can go to my YouTube channel, Kelsey Nicole Nelson, my Facebook page, Kelsey Nicole Nelson, to listen to that live, or my Twitter page at The Real K Nelson, and Twitch page at The Real K Nelson, to watch those shows live. And the live stream version, again, just adds a different element than the audio shows, because you can actually see us and interact with us. The audio shows, obviously, I love as well, because when you're really hearing somebody, you're not seeing them, you really have to listen to that story. And it's called Listening with Kanan, because that's what I want you all to do. Listen in with me, listen into these stories, listen in, and then provide, interact with us, provide that feedback, provide that commentary, and everything's available at listeninwithkanan.com. We even have merchandise if you guys want to rock the Kanan brand, which I would hope you all would love to. So everything's right there. And I'm just thankful. I've never had a repeat guest yet, because I've had so many just great guests come on, which has been super exciting for me. Again, just so many guests from so many different walks of life that just come on to tell their story, what they're doing, and to come interact with you. I tell them, there's no time limit. We talk, and their PR knows that. We're going to talk. We're going to have a real conversation, and it's going to go where it goes. It's going to go where it leads to. And that's
I
what's so
love
fun, I
that.
think, about my
Just let it amoeba, but hey, get out there and support
Let
this
it
great young
flow.
lady. That's right. It's fluid, and that's what's good. But go out
Thank
and
you.
drape that drip of the KNN. So you got to do it, man. Get out there and get that. So again, there's so many things that I want to be able to touch on, but I just want the viewers
Yeah.
to get to know you, get a feel
Yeah.
for your personality, see your professionalism. Because I really
Yeah.
hope that this just helps launch and take off, and bring new viewers
So
to you.
appreciate
Because again,
that.
I'm just a fan. How
Thank
about some
you.
of the red carpet things that you have done? Who were some of the
Gosh.
people that you have met that you were excited to meet on the red carpet?
Oh my
And I
gosh.
know
I don't
that's
even know
hard.
where to
It's like
start.
having
Like,
kids. You love them all, but maybe there's one that you're like, oh, that was just special.
I know it is. Because I think red carpets are, just think about it. When you guys see it on TV, like, these are your superstars, right? That are right in front of you, and you have a chance to speak to them, right? To hear their stories. And it's so special, especially because on the red carpet, what happens a lot is the PR people are trying to rush everyone through. But when someone really likes you and they want to talk to you, what are they going to do? They're going to say, we're
Yep.
good. I'm going to keep talking. And I think about one of my favorite interviews on the red carpet, Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean,
Wow.
enough said, right? Do I need to say anything else? I mean,
Man.
someone like, just someone that's just so sweet, so nice. But you guys remember what he was doing in the boxing ring. I mean, it's just those special moments, that I'm able to get out of folks, and first time meeting each other on the carpet and we just connected. And it was
Wow.
just an amazing experience. Florian Monteo, if you guys watch, well, many of us are going to go watch the new movie Michael B. Jordan has us in, because we're obviously super excited about Creed, but he was in one of the previous movies. And again, just somebody else. That video is actually one of my most popular interviews online because I found out a lot of ladies like him. So they were excited. They were super excited to get to know another side of him, outside of the movies.
That's right.
And acting, somebody else, Dikembe Mutombo, who prayers,
Oh,
keeping him in
yes.
prayer as he recovered. One of my best interviews, gave me the no. We love that finger, right? And, just reliving just his great basketball stories. I'm someone that went to Georgetown for grad school, and grew up in the DC area. So you can only imagine, right, those great stories, that we share. And, speaking of Georgetown, John Thompson III, just another great one. Probably one of my favorite interviews just because, he really got to reflect on the life of his father, Big John. And I think I got to see JT3, in a different light. And I think that, meant a lot, for people in the entertainment world, Nene Leakes, was so much fun to talk to people who love the Real Housewives, franchise. And what she's been able to do as a businesswoman and entrepreneur is honestly incredible. Again, not being placed in one box and making the most, of her opportunities, and these are the people I'm like, wow, like I've had a chance, to just put the mic in front of, and talk to, like, who am I, to be
Yeah.
able, to do that. But that's what's, that's what's just so exciting about the red carpet. Because one, sometimes you don't even know who's going to come there. Because sometimes people just pop up, they didn't let the PR know. So next thing you're just, doing just an interview off the whim, and you just kind of see, how it goes. But then I think the biggest thing, again, you're seeing these superstars that you watch, and they're right in front of you, and they're right in front of your mic, and you get to ask the questions that you want to ask in a real conversation. So I think it's
Yes.
what's just so fun about, red carpets, and I look forward to doing more of them. So much stuff coming up.
Yes, I love that. Well, and someone that you actually interviewed on your podcast, I was able to podcast, I think maybe like 5 or 6 weeks after you did,
Oh,
but
nice.
you had Kent
Awesome.
Benson on with your show, and from the 1970s, the undefeated IU team. But what a fascinating,
Yeah.
foundation that they're working on to give back to the athletes. And I thought you did a
Yeah.
great job of
Thank
talking with
you.
Kent and his teammate. And so again, just seeing how you worked and how you operated and how you brought the questions to life with them, just a
Yeah.
fascinating job. So see, we've
Oh, I
connected on many
appreciate
levels that you
that.
don't even know about.
I love that. I love that. That was one of my more serious interviews. Saying that to say, it was something really important that they wanted to talk about. I felt like the media wasn't giving them the proper
That's
play.
right.
And, I told them, if you come to my platform, we're going to have a real conversation. And, my boss knows at Fox Sports Radio, that's what my podcast is, real conversations. The only thing you're not supposed to do is curse, but, some people break that rule.
For some
But
people,
again, it's
that's
because it's
real.
real. It's real. So, it happens, in the conversation. And, I just think people learn so much. I had so many people reach out to me after the interview saying, wow, I did not know. I did not know. And they were like, what? And
Yes.
then they said, what can I do? And I was able to connect them to people on that team to be able to take the next steps. And that's what journalism, I think, is so powerful for. That's why I want to get into journalism. You have the power to move and make positive change. And that's what people wanted to do, because they just said, I didn't know, we didn't know this had happened, but I
Yeah.
want to be part of the solution because this is a problem. And, I highly encourage people, if you have a chance, like, really listen to that interview. Because again, I'm thankful again that people trust me with their stories and trust me, and they're real with me, and they're 100 with me. Because that's also not always easy to do. Because, some people think that media has an agenda. There's always those folks, or, like, is this person really listening to me? Or are they just trying to click? Well, I hope people really know when they come to my show, I'm here to listen to you. That's why I want you on my show, because I want to have those real, authentic conversation. That's why I
That's
still
right.
have my podcast, despite everything else I do, because that's the place I really get to have and be real. And I really appreciate that because, again, I get to control the narrative, which is one of the best things. And to all the young people out there, get that executive producer title one day. It's nothing better than that. When you get to control your own content, be kind of
That's
your
right.
own boss.
See, I,
So
I, I
it's so
love that.
important.
It's so true though, because think about it. You and I having this organic, raw conversation is allowing
Exactly.
people to get to know you, see who you
Yeah.
are, and see how authentic you are. I mean, I had Charles Oakley just a few weeks ago, and we
I
talked about
saw
his book,
that.
The
Yeah.
Last Enforcer, and he was just real. And again, we were just talking just as you and I are. And
Yeah.
I think the realness to that is people can relate to it. And again, I think you do a
I love
fascinating
that.
job, with those types
Thank
of
you.
conversations. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I implore you to get out and support this young talent, because again,
Thank you.
big things are going to happen, and you can say you saw her win, but man, she's already had so many honors and
Thank
accolades.
you.
So for us to have you on our
Thank
show,
you.
just honored and humbled to have you share
Oh,
your
it's
servant
my
heart
honor
with their
to be
viewers.
here. Thank you so much.
So we've got less than 10 minutes.
Okay.
Share some other words of advice or encouragement to,
Yeah.
the next generation of broadcasters coming up.
Yeah.
What nugget would you throw at them to say, hey, we know this is going to happen, but you need to
Yeah.
do this? What is it that they
Yeah.
need to do?
I think this is perfect timing for this question because, the words or pieces of advice I'm always giving young people is to bet on yourself. So when I say bet on yourself, that means to invest in yourself. But I want to go a layer deeper and I want to give a parallel for folks. So the big thing in Baltimore this season was about Lamar Jackson, right? Turning
Ah,
down whatever offer the Baltimore Ravens had offered him. And we're hearing, of course, that it was less than what Deshaun Watson had got and that he deserved, like he got, deserved to be paid more. So what does he do? He's playing this season and he's hoping for a big contract after the season because he said at the beginning of the season, if we don't get the contract situation sorted out before, then we're not going to do it this season. We'll have to do it after. Because why? Because I'm focused on football. There's a lot of lessons here in what Lamar did. One is that he's focused on football,
amen.
focused on his job, focused on the hard work that had to be done. He wasn't going to make his teammates suffer because of something else going on, right? And again, I think that's huge. That's a huge lesson that goes back to the hard work that we talked about before. Two, betting on yourself. That means taking a chance on yourself. And I think through what we're seeing of Lamar, we know how dynamic he is as a quarterback. I think one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league right now. But also, we think he's going through some adversity, especially if you see the last couple of games that he's had. So I think people, when they see bet on yourself, I think people automatically believe, Coach Scott, that means all good things are going to happen. Betting on yourself means you're going to go through some challenges. You're going to have some setbacks
That's right.
because you bet on yourself. But it's how you bounce back and get back up. I think that's going to be what matters. So know that. And again, so when Lamar has those bad games, the Ravens, even though they've had those bad games, the Ravens right now are sitting atop the AFC North, folks. Even though Lamar has had maybe not the perfect games, the last game you probably didn't like his passing numbers. Again, the Ravens are sitting atop the AFC North. They still have playoff contention, right, and hopes and dreams, and they're still talking about the Super Bowl in Baltimore. So know that when you say bet on yourself, it doesn't mean things are going to be perfect. It's going to really test your adversity, what you're able to do when times get hard, when times get tough. How are you going to invest in yourself and prove your value to folks? So that's something else that Lamar, I think, story shows. How do you prove your value to folks when you think you already have, but they're not willing to pay you the money? That's something young people are going to have to learn. And I'm somebody that doesn't have an agent. I negotiate my own contracts, right? And salaries and things like that. I'm a freelancer. That's something else I had to learn. I think for young people, it's so important to know your worth and your value, but I think you really have to do a holistic look. All of my first media work, I was not getting paid for. Really, I probably lost money because I was going to cover, Wizard games and Mystics games. And, I was paying for my Smart Trip card and, bus rides back or whatever. So I was really investing in myself, right? And not getting anything back on return. There was no return on investment financially. But the bigger return on investment was the reels that I was getting, the real tape that I was getting, the networking that I was doing, and the fan base that I was growing. So I think you really have to look at things in those different modes. I think, sometimes young people get so stuck on the money aspect, and of course you should be making money. And again, you have to look at yourself, but sometimes you have to look at the opportunity, that's there for you to be able to do that. I did my NASCAR internship. I did the NASCAR diversity internship program. I knew nothing about NASCAR. And after the orientation, we were supposed to find a place to live. And after the orientation, I had not found a place to live. And thank gosh, I made a good friend in my NASCAR diversity internship program orientation. So the first week I did the internship, I was just sleeping on her couch since she already lived in North Carolina. So also I think the biggest thing for young people too is know when you're betting on yourself, there's also going to be sacrifices that you're going to have to make. And what are you willing, to kind of sacrifice to get to where you want to go and get to where you want to be at? Are you going to be able to do those sports maybe that you didn't really want to cover or do, but there's a need for, and they're asking you to do it. So I think that's the other big piece of advice, for young people, what are you willing to do? Sports is another example of this. You see great players, what do they do when their team needs to be better? We've seen great players take pay cuts. James Harden, i.e. in Philadelphia with the 76ers. So part of them trusting the process was cutting back on that paycheck a bit, right? So they could build that team and those pieces. So again, what are you willing to sacrifice? Again, it might not be financial, but it might be something for the greater sum of the whole. So I think those are like important life lessons that sometimes, you don't always get to kind of hear, but I love digging into them. But honestly, these are life lessons that you kind of learn along the way, but it'd be so nice if you had somebody to tell that to you before. And again, because I didn't know about freelancing, I just fell into it. So, I kind of had to learn the hard way of
Right. Yeah.
What is a freelancer? I learned the hard way about taxes. The IRS and we're on good terms now. Pay a lot
there
back.
You go. Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean I have to pay all this back? I just got this money, but these are things, that you learn. It's such an important business, but I say bet on yourself because again, the investment starts within you. If you don't believe in yourself, how are you going to expect anybody else to believe in you? People can see when you're confident, right? And there's people love confident people. Sometimes they love to hate them too, but they love them really inside. And when you have that confidence and that aura, there's not going to be anything that's going to deter you from doing what you think you're meant to be doing. And that's one of the best things out there. So having that confidence in yourself means that if you can, saving up money to go to some of these national conferences, if you see some of these speakers are going to be there and hiring managers are going to be there, and it's a great chance to network, make sure that you're there. It means because we all have these cool little things called phones, using them to the best of your ability, and I think it's huge. I really do. I think it's huge to be able to do that now because you can broadcast from anywhere. You can do a quick interview, with someone from anywhere. You never know who you're going to run into.
That's right.
But you always got to be ready and stay ready. Another lesson for young people, you might meet somebody and hey, it's a celebrity. They're right there. I might have to just do a quick man on the street interview. And, and that might be next thing, the biggest thing for you in your career might be kind of that next step. So all of those different things are so important. But also I think to young people, something we don't tell them enough is that you have time. I think, we put these clocks on ourselves,
Yes.
we want things to happen quick. And of course we all do. Everybody wants it to happen quickly, but you have to trust in timing. You do. You have to trust in timing and know, it's all a process. So it's all a process that we're going through to get to the end goal. And the end goal is always going to change for you, again, as you grow and evolve. Because, you might say, my goal is to be a regional sports anchor. But then when you get there, you might be like, oh, this is good. But, well, now, I want to be a national sports anchor. You might get there and say, well, now I want to be an international, sports anchor. And maybe open up an international sports broadcasting school. You just never know. It's going to evolve. But that's the great thing about the journey of life, right? Is that it's always moving,
Amen.
always growing, much like sports, it's like the plays are always going, right? And you're always trying to see which one works best. And I think that's the great thing about life, Scott.
I love everything that you're saying because it's just so true and it's very real. And hearing it come from you, who's in that grind, who gets up and goes through the grit and chops wood and carries water. I mean, you're doing it. So I love that you're sharing that. Just a couple quick one-word answers here because we've got like about a minute. So I want to go quick.
Okay.
Someone that you haven't interviewed yet that you would love to interview.
Ooh, Beyonce.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Beehive member.
I like it. Who is like a political figure that you would like to interview?
Former President Barack Obama.
Amen. Hey, doesn't it get any cooler than that right there, right? Come on. I just saw him with the Mannings on Monday Night Football, and he's cooler than the other side of the pillow to steal that from Stuart Scott. I loved it.
He's amazing. And Barack, if you're listening to this, all right, please, I'm in DC. We can make this happen easily. Just give me 30 minutes. 30 minute.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a wonderful show. I can't thank Kelsey Nicole Nelson enough for sharing her time. You've been watching the Coach Scott Field Show. Kelsey, we got to have you come back because, again, we haven't even started to
Hard.
peel that onion. But, man, the things that you were sharing were more than impactful, more than powerful. I
Oh,
mean, it's very inspiring, very uplifting. And that's
thank
what this show
you.
is all about. And I like to
Thank you.
accentuate and give the platform to let people be them. And man,
Yeah.
did you totally just knock it out of the park, girl.
Thank you. I only know how to be me, and I appreciate you for allowing me to be my authentic self. It means a lot, Coach Scott. We've never met in person, but I feel like we have. You are now family. I'm going to call you family. It feels just so great to talk to someone as you, as accomplished as you. So also just claps, claps, claps to you for being a phenomenal show host and just making this feel like, this longer interview feel like it went like this.
Yeah.
Like I could talk to Coach Scott all day if it
It
need
felt like
be.
Christmas Eve where all this anticipation and boom, and it's like, oh my gosh, Christmas
Yes,
is over already.
over. I'm like, geez, run it back, right? Like,
Well, let's do this. Let's have you come back on again to where we can dig even deeper, to share more life lessons and to share,
oh, I'd be
authentic
honored.
stories. Let's make it happen. But let's share this content for others because wow, if you want to learn from one of the best, ladies and gentlemen, Kelsey is one of the best. And
Thank
man, she
you.
nothing is going to stop her. I can see this already. I appreciate you, girl. God
Oh, thank
bless.
you so much. I appreciate you too. God bless everyone. Have a wonderful night. So appreciate you, Coach Scott.
Got
Bye,
it.
guys.
God bless you, and hopefully we'll cross paths real soon.
I look forward to it.